Yeah, so I got a hand wash sink, 3-bay sink. Right.
When he's not catering private parties or taking care of his 2 young children, Aaron Crumbaugh is cooking food out of this truck, dubbed the Wagyu Wagon. But as Crumbaugh and other roving chefs prepare to take to the streets this spring, they'll be burdened by one thing: they're not allowed to cook. Legislation to potentially legalize onboard cooking is currently being crafted in city government, but some restaurateurs like Glenn Kiefer hope the legislation doesn't give food trucks an unfair advantage over brick-and-mortar restaurants.
Now, all we're asking is that we get an ordinance that provides for those trucks to pay their fair share, that they're located in places where it does not give them an opportunity to poach customers. In no way are we against having food trucks in general.
Kiefer admitted, though, that it can be difficult for restaurants to coexist with food trucks.
These trucks break the rules quite often. I've had to call the police 5 or 6 times because they were in 200 feet of our door. There are some really, really unique food items that these trucks can bring. I think it's terrific. I'd just like to see us find a way to give them a parking spot or give them an assigned spot. It's a threat to our business because in these kind of economic times, the loss of maybe 30 or 40 people a day could be the difference between making a profit and not making a profit.
Most of the parties involved in the issue emphasize that they're not as flush as their competitors might think they are.
The average restaurant profit is 4%. The failure rate is 95% over the first 5 years. So I can assure you that we are not the overnight millionaires that the young lady who operates the Sweet Ride cupcake truck thinks we are.
Alderman Tom Tunney of the 44th Ward, who also owns 4 of these Ann Sather restaurants, is a key figure in the crafting of the new food truck legislation. He noted that there are several pros and cons to food trucks, but that they compete with brick-and-mortar restaurants that might have deeper roots in the community that they serve. In a phone interview, Tunney said that neither he nor the administration want to do anything to hurt brick-and-mortar businesses during a shaky economy. He interpreted Glenn Kiefer's comments as Kiefer trying to stick up for the interests of his own restaurant and fight to create a level playing field. Tony D'Alessandro, owner and chef at Big and Little's restaurant, thinks the idea of an ordinance having to level the playing field is ridiculous.
As a restaurateur, I really don't care about food trucks, cooking on trucks. I don't care if it takes away business from me, or I don't care if it gives me more business. I think it's a pain in the ass getting up in the morning, going to find a kitchen to prep in, and then going out on the streets and trying to hustle. I mean, I at least don't have to go online in Twitter and Facebook. It's like selling rock, you know?
If anything, D'Alessandro said, most food trucks already pay more than their fair share, simply through the day-to-day logistics of running their business.
Pay their dues. Yeah, they're a bunch of idiots then. I mean, these other restaurateurs who said that, I mean, come on. I mean, you got guys on a food truck. I mean, in the weather. I mean, if it's cold out, it's freezing outside. Maybe those other restaurateurs don't know what it's like starting off so minimal. So, you know, for them to say that, they can go blow it up their ass.
He's not all talk either. D'Alessandro gave Chicago entrepreneurs James Nuccio and Gabe Wiesen of Beaver's Donuts food truck their start by allowing them to set up shop in his parking lot.
They park in the lot and they just pump out donuts and coffee. As long as they're not affecting what I'm selling, I'm all good. I'm all game for it. I put a sign up, we wear their hat, you know, it's a get dessert with a big arrow. That actually complements my restaurant, which other restaurants, if they thought about it, could use. There's opportunities that exist. One person's success will lead to another person's success.
Alderman Tunney also acknowledged the competitiveness of the local restaurant industry in a down economy. He said the hashing out of the ordinance wasn't a compromise, but rather coming up with the rules and regulations that would incubate the industry. Crumbaugh also spoke to the industry's competitiveness, noting that if restaurants were afraid of food trucks taking away their business, they should focus on making a better product.
I think what they fail to understand as a restaurant owner is that, you know, we're not making bags and bags of money. You know, they say, oh, well, you don't have to pay property taxes. You know, we have to pay these property taxes in Chicago. Well, you know, we also have to pay, you know, kitchen rentals because we don't have a restaurant.
Crumbaugh's makeshift prep kitchen is housed here, a former vintage bar named Ethel's, whose parking lot used to function as a haven for trucks to sell their food before it went out of business. It's a metaphor for what Crumbaugh calls the city's inaction at fostering food trucks, especially compared to other cities across the country.
Oh, we're at the bottom. I mean, we are the bottom. I mean, you think about it, we're, you know, the 3rd largest city in the U.S. Yet we have the city, you know, dragging their feet on this archaic law, this is, it's not safe to cook out of a mobile truck.
Kiefer said a recent meeting of restaurant owners at City Hall was productive.
We attended a meeting last Thursday at City Hall and spoke to some of his staff about ideas of, how we could do this thing in a fair way. I think some of the consensus that came out of this meeting was that there was an appreciation by both sides that the rules have got to be followed.
While he was happy that food truck owners were also consulted by City Hall, Crumbaugh said the two sides still aren't working on the same page.
Let us be a part of this and let's work together and figure this out, as opposed to, the city government saying, we'll take care of it. And then, in typical government fashion, we're looking at years.
For Medill Reports, I'm Will Green.